This is CBC Here and Now.
Fire strikes another business in Happy Valley Goose Bay. That makes 5 major fires in as many months.
The new revenue stream guaranteed by our agreement with the Government of Canada will deliver $2.5 billion to our province.
The government says spending is now under control as the Lieutenant Governor delivers the speech from the throne.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain, live at the Confederation building where that speech of throne that Carol mentioned, that happened just behind me. We'll have highlights and live reaction tonight on Here and Now.
Thanks, Anthony, and I'm Carolyn Stokes in the studio this evening. Now let's get to our top story tonight. Fire has once again struck a business in Happy Valley Goose Bay. As the town was cleaning up from an overnight storm, emergency crews were called to a blaze at a tire repair shop. No one was injured, but it is raising a lot of questions in a town that has been hit with a string of disastrous fires in recent months. Here Now's Jacob Barker has more.
Here you can see the back part of the building, which was completely destroyed by the flames. The fire chief said they were able to contain the fire after sending some members in to find the source of the fire.
We had to source where the fire was and try to put it out before it spread any further.
Crews sawed out the side of a bay door, introducing oxygen into the structure. A little while later, this happened. The fire chief says the quick action they took on the fire allowed them to keep the blaze contained.
We got on it quick, and there was a number of volunteers that did show up. We had to evacuate the street and shut down the power to the area, but it worked out well because Hydro's next door and they took care of all that.
This fire is the latest in a string of commercial fires in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Just last month, a strip mall was destroyed just around the corner by fire, and 3 fires in the second half of last year damaged or destroyed businesses in the community. Fire is becoming a common sight and a common topic of conversation.
It keeps happening. You can't control fire. Fire is going to happen whenever it does, but you can't allude to arson or whatever. It's up to the fire investigation once they do start that, once we're finished with the scene, got the fire ring.
The owners of the business told me off camera they have no idea what started the blaze, though one of them had stopped in to clear snow after an overnight snowstorm and drop a few things off. The owners say they are distraught by the fire, one of them saying that this business is his life. He said it was too early to know how insurance will cover the damage or whether part of the building is salvageable. But what he does know is that there's a long road ahead to get this business back on its feet. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
And as Jacob just said, this is the latest in a string of fires since September. That's when the North Mart grocery store was badly damaged. And the next day, the Cozy Corner restaurant was destroyed by fire. Then, a week later, a funeral home was heavily damaged. And last month, the mall went up in flames, ruining several businesses.
Our government has stabilized spending. While bringing government spending under control, we have worked closely with industry to attract investment that will advance projects in the mining and oil and gas sectors to continue driving economic activity. Our government is using every opportunity to make our province a great place to live, work, and raise a family.
Now that's Jodie Foote, Lieutenant Governor, who this afternoon, sitting right behind me here in the chamber of the House of Assembly, brought down a speech from the throne. And the speech from the throne is kind of a generalized, feel-good kind of speech today that basically outlines what the government thinks are some of its major intentions and achievements. And if we actually go over a couple of those, new projects or promises, they were pretty hard to find, but here are a couple of highlights. The government repeated its pledge to bring in some kind of legislation to deal with auto insurance rates. Newfoundlanders and Labradorians pay the highest rates in Atlantic Canada, so they basically repeated a promise to move ahead on that. There was also something interesting that the Attorney General Andrew Parsons has mentioned before. It's Clare's Law. This is looking at a law from other jurisdictions in the British parliamentary tradition. This is a law that would allow the police to tell people, particularly women, about the violent criminal past of their partners if they saw a need. It's an interesting public policy and a legal policy issue. And finally, one of the other interesting things that was in here, and you really had to look for them, was a pledge when it comes to retaining immigrants for teaching English on the job. That would be something that would happen in the workplace for new Canadians. So those are some of the specifics, but generally the speech, fairly general. I'm going to bring in Katie Breen to talk about this. So Katie, you've been working on some of the reaction to today's speech from the throne. What did you get?
Well, that's right. I spoke with NDP leader Alison Coffin earlier, and she's just generally unimpressed by this whole thing. Says it's obvious to tell that there's an election coming up because the speech was very political and very vague.
There are a lot of things that are really missing. There was not a good discussion of the economy. There was just a little, we decreased the debt a little bit. They didn't talk about how they were going to take control of the economy or make it more robust. They talk in very vague terms like improving outcomes, but they don't have really tangible sense of what those outcomes might be. And they've totally omitted the environment. When we're talking about carbon emissions and we're talking about reducing greenhouse gases on one hand, but at the other hand, they talk about, well, we're going to develop our oil and gas industry. So those two things are diametrically opposed.
So that's what she thought of it. Now, PC leader Ches Crosby, he was busy in the House when she was able to speak to us. That's why he's here now joining me live, and I'll bring you in, Ches. What did you think of today?
Well, the throne speech was a bunch of pleasant sentiments about what the Ball Liberal government would like to do, but they're never going to do any of it because there's going to be an election. So
you're pretty confident that your party is going to take over?
Yes, I think that the election call is going to be right after Easter. We'll be pitched into an election, and there'll be a different government with a different agenda.
You heard Coffin there speaking about the environment. What did you think about that, about the environment and how little there was in this speech about it?
Well, she may be right, but it doesn't really matter what's in the speech because they're not going to act on any of it. There was something in the speech I'd like to bring to your viewers' attention, though, and that was a good degree of boasting about the so-called Atlantic Accord deal. There is no Atlantic Accord deal. It has nothing to do with the Atlantic Accord. It's hush money for Dwight Ball to keep his silence about Bill C-69, which is the No More Offshore Bill.
All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Ches, for joining us this evening. There was also more. Actually, interestingly enough, the most interesting part of the speech was not actually in the speech. It came after the speech.
That's true. Not a lot about the environment in this, but we've certainly been covering where is the ban on plastic checkout bags. Well, that actually came up when the Minister responsible for the environment came out to meet reporters.
Right now, it's a proposal. It's a proposed amendment that has to go through the House of Assembly and be approved. But the bill is the first step. In order to implement a plastic ban bag, we have to amend the legislation, and this is the first step in that process.
So a busy day here at the House of Assembly. We'll have more coverage and reaction. One of the things that was in the speech that Jodie Foote delivered today was the contention by the government that they have gotten control of spending. Well, a lot of critics don't buy that. We'll hear from some of them tonight, and we'll take a look at some more issues that's coming up later on Here and Now.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, in other news tonight, the Minister of Health says a solution has been found to make sure people in Conception Bay North have ambulance services. In March, the Health Department gave a 30-day termination notice to Moore's Ambulance, which serves Conception Bay North. Today, Minister John Haggie says a replacement service provider has been found. Haggie says the area will have the same number of ambulances as before, but he stopped short of saying there will be no job losses as one private company takes over from another private company.
Viewers have agreed to take on the service and provide it through one of their companies to take over from the lapsing contract on April the 6th. There will be no change in either the location of the ambulances or the number of ambulances provided under this service.
Meanwhile, the health minister also says the province is keeping a close eye on a recent change to the organ donation policy in Nova Scotia. Now, that province is the first jurisdiction in North America to adopt presumed consent for organ donation. And that means everyone in Nova Scotia automatically becomes an organ donor after death unless they opt out of the program. Some European countries have seen increases in organ donation numbers after adopting this kind of policy. Residents of Newfoundland and Labrador must sign a consent or opt in if they wish to be an organ donor after they die.
If it works I'm perfectly happy to look at it, but as yet the case is, as they would say, unproven, and I would really be interested to see the experience of Nova Scotia, because that's a much more relevant context to us than maybe Portugal or Spain.
Well, this car veered into the median and flipped over on Team Guju Highway in St. John's over the lunch hour today. The driver was headed south, but something happened near the Thorburn Road exit and the vehicle went off the road. The man driving the car was injured, but police say his injuries are not life-threatening.
Well, it's been a windy 24 hours across most of of Newfoundland and Labrador. Taking a look at these pictures, Stephen Hiscock sent us this photo from Burgeo. Pack ice moved in last night thanks to some strong southeasterly winds. This morning, the ice moved out. They're still seeing some ice in the harbor, but we can see where that ice is right now. And because we're seeing that flow, that southwesterly flow right now, that ice has moved out. But if we start to see that southeasterly flow back again, we're going to see all of that ice packed back in there. And he was saying that he's heard that he hasn't seen this, or that they haven't seen this in since the 90s. So certainly interesting there. But if you take a look at the winds right across the province, as I mentioned, quite windy. Top gusts in the Rec House area this morning at 130 kilometers per hour. They were even stronger last night. 91 in St. John's, 102 kilometers per hour for Bonavista, and Twillingate seeing gusts near 100 kilometers per hour. Now, we're not going to see much relief really in the way of winds as we head through the overnight tonight. Still a number of warnings up through Labrador. Those wind warnings still very much in place along the west coast and northeast coast of Newfoundland. And then with that, because we're starting to see that southwesterly flow that I mentioned, that's the perfect recipe for snow squalls. And it looks like that's going to continue over the next 24 hours. I'll have all those details in your full forecast coming up. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, it's been a week since an oil spill in Conception Bay South spewed furnace oil into a stream in Topsail. The fuel came from a cracked pipe in a scrap truck around 500 meters away. It was owned by N&G Enterprises, and the leak prompted this cleanup response. The spill also had the town of CBS suggesting residents keep their windows closed and air exchangers off. People noticed a couple of dead fish in the stream that flows into the ocean. Final numbers from Service NL say 75 liters spilled, but some neighbors believe the total could have been much higher. And still in CBS, workers with the Manuel's River Trail system say they're not mad, they're just extremely disappointed. Sometime in the last week, someone used spray paint along the trail. Officials say the benches can be sanded clean and rocks can be covered, but it'll be up to Mother Nature to wash the paint from the trees. Workers say there's also a chance some of the trees might die or be damaged because of the chemicals in the paint. Trail worker Stuart Crosby says this sort of thing happens just about every year. He wants anyone who knows something about this latest bout of vandalism to get in touch. Well, we've been hearing lots about weed shortages since pot became legal, but this province also has a growing taste for a different kind of cannabis product. Here Now's Malone Mullen tells us more.
This is cannabidiol, or CBD oil. It's legal and it's found in stores, but it's so popular you probably won't find it here.
Kenneth Oliver has been waiting and waiting for CBD products. They usually come in an oil or a spray, the chemical absorbed through the mouth. He says demand is surging, largely because CBD doesn't get you high.
I'd say every second, third, fourth person coming in looking for it. It can be frustrating sometimes because there's only 2 out of 10 suppliers that are actually shipping it to us. So we can't really give them what they need, and a lot of people leave unhappy.
Oliver even started a waiting list last week for a growing customer base that's looking not for a buzz, but for relief, for pain, anxiety, or insomnia.
I had one guy, for example, come in and he had arthritis in his knees, and he said once he started taking the CBD oil, he canceled his surgery. He was able to walk again.
So this is the good stuff. How is it made?
In a big, huge greenhouse, they would have cannabis growing, and the strain itself would be a CBD strain. And once it's chopped down, dried, they will extract resins from it and turn it into an oil.
But producers haven't been able to make enough, at least not for the recreational market. The NLC said it's been able to get its hands on some, but they've been reassured producers will make more to match demand. Oliver thinks word of mouth and the internet has piqued his customers' interest, bordering on obsession.
I'd say every second old person out there is looking for it.
CBC News called retailers across the province. At the time, only one store had CBD spray, and it was expected to sell out within the day.
Okay, so I've been having a lot.
This doctor isn't really surprised at its popularity. She's an oncologist by training and has treated patients with cannabis for 3 years. She says people come to her looking for CBD products for a vast array of ailments, from back pain to chemo nausea.
CBD is seen as natural and low side effects. I'm not convinced that natural and low side effects go together, cocaine, for example, but in the case of CBD, they appear to.
Not much is known about how CBD actually works. We don't even know if it does work. There just hasn't been enough research. Norman says there might be a CBD receptor hiding away in the body, like the one THC works on, but that theory's always changing. For patients, though, it doesn't matter. Norman says she sees results right in front of her.
Because it's so biologically active in so many ways, it's not surprising to me that it seems to benefit people with a wide variety of conditions.
But only 1 in 10 patients see spectacular results. The rest sometimes neglect medical care in favor of online reviews. For now, doctors can relax. Most customers won't be self-medicating anyway, at least not until CBD finds its way back onto these shelves. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
The government today in the speech from the throne says it's got spending stabilized, it's under control. Some critics, they wonder about that. We'll talk about the government and spending after the break with Richard Alexander, Executive Director of the NL Employers Council, and we'll have Ashley's weather as well.
Brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Bonus deadline is midnight tomorrow. Order now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
So Ashley, just the two of us in the studio here tonight. It was a nice day in terms of like temperatures and sunshine, but it was windy.
Windy, and it was windy right across most of the province as well. But temperatures this morning, not too bad. If we take a look at that, as you mentioned, between 5 and 7 degrees, essentially anywhere through parts of the island, and then up towards Labrador, a little cooler, but still above zero. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 1 degree, Lab City sitting at -2. Now the temperatures have dropped, and we can thank that southwesterly flow for that. Northwesterly up through Labrador, -4 for Lab City right now, and then we've got that that southwesterly flow right for the island along the west coast. -4 for Corner Brook, -2 for Badger, heading towards eastern Newfoundland and the Avalon. You're sitting above zero still, so sitting around 2 degrees. Now, because of that southwesterly flow, we are in the perfect setup for snow squalls, and we can see that they've been quite persistent along the west coast, and we've actually seen a band of flurries move through Clarenville and towards the Isthmus, and the Future Tracker actually picked that up quite well tonight. So we're going to see that potential for some more squalls down through the Burin Peninsula as well as the Avalon. Can't rule that out as we head through the overnight, especially along the west coast. And then those windy conditions still up through Labrador along with that snow. The winds have eased slightly, but they're going to pick right back up as that low tracks offshore in behind there. That's when those winds really ramp up again. So we do still have a number of warnings in place along with wind warnings. So blowing snow advisory for Lab City right now, heading towards Happy Valley Goose Bay under that wind warning. Well, west of Happy Valley Goose Bay under a wind warning, and then blowing snow advisory from Nain to Makovic, and then still looking at that winter storm warning down through the straits. Now for most of Newfoundland, a wind warning, especially along the west coast and then the northeast coast as well. Winds gusting upwards of about 100 kilometers per hour for the next couple of hours. Overnight we will start to see those winds ease slightly, but under warning criteria. Still going to be seeing gusts between 80 and potentially 90 kilometers per hour. So that snow squall warning still very much in place, and then watches for the Burin Peninsula as well as the Canagra Peninsula, and then for Green Bay, White Bay as we head through the night tonight. Now, taking a look at the forecast, looking through the overnight tonight, about -5, so dipping into the minus single digits, very similar to what we saw yesterday. But again, those winds, generally southwesterlies between 60 and 80 kilometers per hour. Exposed areas still could see gusts near 100 kilometers per hour. And then up through Labrador, -18 for Lab City. That's the cold spot, heading towards the coast a little bit warmer, but seeing those winds shift from northeasterlies to northwesterlies as that low moves offshore. And then as far as precipitation goes, another 5 to 10, maybe upwards of 15 centimeters is possible along the coast as we head through tomorrow morning, certainly by Saturday morning. So here's a look at the future tracker tomorrow. Eventually we will start to see those winds, or rather they're going to stay strong, but the potential for some snow squalls will end into the evening hours, and then clearing skies in behind that. And then quickly just looking at the forecast for tomorrow, slight chance of a few flurries, generally cooler across the board, hovering around the 0 degree mark, and then still AM morning squalls along the west coast. And then -7 for Lanzaloo, and then towards the Labrador, -9 for Lab City, and then another 2 to 4 centimeters on the way for Nain. So that's a look at your forecast. I'll have your looking ahead when I come back.
At the very beginning of Jodie Foote's speech from the throne today, she mentioned that the government found itself, when it came to power, in a horrible financial situation. And today, the Lieutenant Governor said the government has managed to start getting a handle on spending, that it has, quote, stabilized spending and has it under control. I'm going to talk about that now with Richard Alexander. He, of course, has been on here now before, Executive Director of the NL Employers Council. So, Mr. Alexander, what's your thoughts of that contention that spending's under control?
Oh, I think it's shocking and a little bit disappointing, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anybody in this province that would think that spending $600 million a year more, as we did this year, than what we brought in revenue, is having spending under control or you know, capping spending or whatever. You know, it sounds, I think, to a lot of people like, you know, government's just trying to just swipe the problem underneath the rug. And I think the people of the province are interested in government admitting that there's a problem and looking for results and solutions. I know that's what we want, and that's what the people of the province want, is solutions to our spending problem.
Well, you know, it's been a busy political week. We had a major announcement and a major media event on Monday night with the Premier and Seamus O'Regan getting together saying they've signed this deal. Does that give you any hope that there is at least some cash coming in to help us deal with our financial situation?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, $2.5 billion. If you look at that over the life of the agreement and you average that out, it equates to about $66 million a year. $66 million is better than nothing, obviously. But when you compare that $66 million to the fact that, you know, we have a $600 million deficit, you know, it's clear that this is not going to solve the problems. Nobody from the outside, including the federal government, is going to deal with this issue for us. It's a spending problem. Government has admitted to that. It's up to us to tackle that. And that means being realistic about what's happening in this province.
Now, one of the other aspects in the throne speech actually refers to that deal on Monday night, and the words, if I remember correctly, were that there are no conditions on that $66 million that you mentioned, and that it would be spent wisely. Now, who decides the wisdom in this?
Well, let me give you a couple of figures. So last year, the interest payment that our province made on the province's credit card was about $956 million. That increased in one single year to $1.4 billion.
So that's just the interest.
That's just the interest payment that we're making. So it's increasing. It's more than what we spend on education in this province. So if government does anything but other than put that money down on the debt and try to reduce that and get that under control, anything other than that would be completely reckless.
All right, well, no doubt there will be some interesting times ahead. Your overall thoughts on the Accord? I guess people have to give a little more analysis before they come to their final conclusions. But overall, as you said, I mean, it is cash coming in.
Yeah, it's cash coming in. You know, we have a spending problem in this province. Mm-hmm. Our revenue, our GDP per person in this province is the highest in the country, bar none. This government has tried to fix the financial problems through increase in taxation and increase in oil price. We have still yet to address the third lever, which is expenditures. We're not hopeful we're going to see that in election year, but after the election, whatever government takes power needs to address this unresolved issue.
All right. Richard Alexander, appreciate your thoughts on this. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Richard Alexander, Executive Director, NL Employers Council.
Well, now to some national political news. Former Liberal MP Jane Philpott talked about why she left cabinet during an interview today with The Current on CBC Radio 1.
Is very good evidence that there were attempts to interfere with, have political interference with a very serious criminal trial. And I had to resign from cabinet because I was not willing to deny that took place.
Philpott says Trudeau could have contained the SNC-Lavalin controversy with a quick apology. The Liberal Party kicked Philpott and Jodie Wilson-Reybold out of the caucus earlier this week. And we have an update now on a story CBC News brought you last night on The National about Jodie Wilson-Reybold's efforts to remain part of the Liberal caucus. The former Attorney General was seeking assurances her successor would not interfere in the SNC-Lavalin case. Here's a sampling of reaction from Parliament Hill.
It seems concerning to me that was the very thing that she was raising an issue with, and that she was attempting to ask essentially that the Prime Minister direct the new Attorney General to make a decision.
Even if we accept what she said was, hey, don't interfere, and now they're calling that interference, it's just ludicrous. No one buys that argument. As a lawyer, that is a weak argument.
This is about preserving the integrity of our justice system, and what the Prime Minister is trying to do would have undermined the rule of law, and I see that as her attempt to make sure that didn't happen.
In addition, Wilson-Reybold wanted Justin Trudeau to apologize and to admit the Prime Minister's office acted inappropriately. She also demanded the removal of these top three government officials, Gerald Butts, Michael Wernick, and Mathieu Bouchard. Butts has already stepped down as the Prime Minister's principal secretary. Wernick is retiring this month from his post as clerk of the Privy Council. However, Bouchard is still in his post as a senior advisor to Justin Trudeau. Coming up, two women share their stories of overcoming addiction in rural Newfoundland. Welcome back to Here and Now. Gander has set up its very first needle disposal box. The unit is located on Bennett Drive near an apartment building. The town says the program recognizes that the disposal of used needles is a growing concern. However, council is stressing that the number of needles found in the community has not been significant. Well, our next guests disagree with that. They say addiction is a big problem in the town. The two women you're about to meet have both faced addiction either in their own families or firsthand. They say the stigma is stopping people from reaching out. They sat down with Here and Now's Garrett Berry to share their stories.
I felt like taking these down and not treasuring
We've
them
been
as much
through
that day, 'cause I felt
everything here in Gander, from being the parents that enabled, to the parents that kicked them out, to the parents that learned about harm reduction and trying to help them keep them safe. We've, you know, over the 10 years, we've been in and out of all kinds of situations. When he first broke down to us, we were in shock because he didn't break down and say, I'm drinking too much, or I'm involved with this crowd or that crowd. He broke down and told us about cocaine at 17 years old.
So my drug of choice at the time was alcohol, and of course I got into taking some pills just for a bigger buzz on. I did not ever think that it was possible for me to live. I didn't think I was worth living. I didn't ever think I was going to be able to be this person who I was, you know, this person who I am now, this strong person.
You know, like they're real people. They got real
It's
lives.
that dark, cold, lonely place. It's I can't describe it. I can't feel it. All I know is I was done living at that point because I didn't think there was anything else worth living for. I was done as a human being. I took the overdose. I took the pills. Like I said, I'm grateful that it didn't succeed today. Somebody found me. I got help. Not everybody has that chance.
Finding that balance of not having anything to do with him, letting him go make his own mistakes. When he hits rock bottom, he might be back, to keeping him safe and alive is hard. It's very hard. We've kicked him out of the house. He's been living on his own, or he chose to leave sometimes, but he's been in and out of our house. Is it crisis that leads us back? Sometimes it was. But now, the past couple of years, I mean, we know what we got to do to keep him alive. We understand he has a disease no different than the cancer I had, and that he doesn't have a choice.
Well, officials have released their report into last month's Ethiopia Airlines plane crash, which killed 157 people, including 18 Canadians. Preliminary findings say the pilots did all they could to save the plane, but they could not pull the Boeing 737 MAX 8 out of a nosedive. CBC's Jacqueline Henson has more.
Data from the crash suggests there was a struggle between the Ethiopian Airlines plane and its pilots. The Ethiopian government says the findings rule out pilot error.
The crew performed all the procedures repeatedly provided by the manufacturer, but was not able to control the aircraft.
That seems to point to the aircraft's anti-stall system, known as MCAS, that was new to the MAX aircraft. It's supposed to lower the plane's nose if it pitches up too fast.
Since repetitive uncommanded aircraft nose-down conditions are noticed in this preliminary investigation, it is recommended that the aircraft flight control system related to the flight controllability shall be reviewed by the manufacturer.
It's unclear how exactly the pilots responded. These initial findings don't go into the step-by-step final moments of the flight. But after the deadly Lion Air crash of the same 737 MAX aircraft in October, Boeing recommended that pilots turn off the anti-stall system if there are any issues and fly manually. It appears the Ethiopian Airlines pilots tried to do that and still weren't able to save the plane.
We were fairly confident that their recommendations from the first accident would have solved the second accident, if you like. But in this case, it's still completely open. They say that they'd followed the recommended procedures from Boeing, but the plane still crashed. So the Boeing position is actually very awkward at the moment.
Boeing isn't commenting yet. It's waiting for the final report. Its CEO displayed his confidence in the aircraft yesterday with a test flight on the 737 MAX. The company was supposed to submit a software fix for approval last week, but it says it's not ready. Today's findings may complicate things further for the company, as there may be even more for Boeing to figure out before it's absolutely certain the aircraft is ready to take off again. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Some of the world's top marine minds are in Moscow this week to talk about these big guys. We'll tell you why later in the show.
In the coming year, our government will emphasize our focus on supporting newcomer retention, beginning with assisting migrant workers and international graduates to become permanent residents, engaging employers in facilitating workplace-based language training, introducing empowerment-focused employment initiatives for former refugee women, and promoting international entrepreneurship. We will help newcomers in getting to know their new communities, including learning about the cultures of and building connections with Indigenous people, and exploring opportunities to live and work in Newfoundland and Labrador.
When Lieutenant Governor Jodie Foote talked about welcoming newcomers to Newfoundland and Labrador, she reminded people that more people die in this province than are born every year. So immigration is seen as one of those possible solutions. And there was something that struck us as interesting to talk about, and that's why Jamie Baker from the Association for New Canadians joins us. Jamie, there's a part in the throne speech today that talked about training, giving people language training on the job, at the workplace. That struck us as being something new. It's not new to you. What's the idea?
Well, really the idea is to help promote language training, give them the skills and knowledge necessary to continue their employment, to promote their retention, to be able to contribute to our community and to our society here in Newfoundland and Labrador.
But the decision to actually be a little more specific about making it at the workplace, obviously you can get English and French, two official languages, in the classroom. Why the workplace?
What's on the job language training, so it's very important to learn the language of the job. So if you're an engineer, if you're working in a in the hospitality sector, if you're working in the healthcare sector, it's very important to know the language that that really is crucial to be able to do your job.
So Aren't you guys doing that now, though? I mean, doesn't this happen with new Canadians who are working in different workplaces? Isn't this happening?
Yeah, so we have these, we have a couple of great programs, the Bridging the Divide, which is our farm project, as well as our food truck project, so I'll talk about the food truck program for a second, which is the partnership with Academy Canada, funded by IRCC and its Service Delivery Initiative. And basically it's to provide culinary training to refugees, so that they're able to work in the hospitality sector or to go on and create their own business. And they'll get some time working on a food truck over the summer. So we're looking forward to that. Our farm project is, that meshes quite well with the speech from the throne, because we're talking about the importance of food safety and food security, and linking newcomers, specifically refugees, because we found that a lot of our clients had farming experience in their home countries. So being able to link them with that project really helps build on their existing skill set and help them contribute to a key part of our province.
Okay, and I guess if they manage to do this in English as they're working, then it actually builds on their skills, and they could move from a food truck to other jobs in different kitchens.
Absolutely.
All right, obviously we want to try to keep as many new Canadians to keep the population growing. Appreciate your thoughts, and I have no doubt we'll be speaking again. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
That's pretty much it from the House of Assembly today, and I'll be back on Here and Now tomorrow.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, some of the world's top marine mines are in Moscow this week. They're trying to save nearly 100 orcas and belugas from what's been dubbed a whale jail. It could be one of the largest mass releases of captive animals ever, but as CBC's Chris Brown reports, making that happen is no easy task.
The situation unfolding now in Russia's Pacific coast with regards to these 100 or so whales in captivity is really quite unique. There's about 87 belugas and 10 orcas. They were all captured by Russian companies with the intention of selling them to China to participate in different marine parks. It's a very shady, although lucrative practice that for years now animal rights activists have wanted stopped. Russia's government intervened in this case about 1 month ago and ordered the whales released. How precisely, though, to stage what really would be the largest mass release of captive whales ever tried has become quite a tricky proposition. Russia has called in some of the best minds in the world to help them figure out exactly what to do, including renowned oceanographer Jean-Michel Cousteau. He is the son of course, the famous French biologist Jacques Cousteau. His team has arrived in Moscow and met with the media here today. They're going to be flying out to Vladivostok tonight to survey each of these whales to try to determine what comes next.
We are going to be more and more in a position to readapt every one of them to be released naturally in the environment. And it's not easy, but it's going to happen hopefully for most of them.
There are a lot of challenges to overcome. Many of these 87 belugas, for example, are very young. They've now been around humans for several months, so there's real concerns that if they simply release them into the ocean, those mammals may not be able to look after themselves, feed themselves. So this team is going to try to come up with a release plan, and it's a plan that actually may take several months in order to play out. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
Well, students across Ontario walked out of class today to protest changes to education planned by the Conservative government. Some taking part say they're especially upset over an increase in class sizes.
No cuts to education! No cuts to education! Increasing class sizes is literally just going to, the students who are the most vulnerable are going to suffer even more. And that's not fair to my peers, that's not fair to me, and I don't want bigger class sizes. That's why I'm here today.
Some school boards and teacher unions say larger class sizes will result in thousands of teachers losing their jobs. Other changes include a ban on cell phones in class and new math and sex ed programs. Premier Doug Ford says students taking part in today's walkout are pawns being used by teachers and their unions. So it's Thursday, so before we get to the weather, it's time to see our weather whiz kid, right?
Yes, and our weather whiz kid today is Sam Vardy. And this picture was sent to, or drawing rather, was sent to us. Dear Spring, we love you so much.
Aw,
it's
that's
true.
Great.
Yeah,
love the flowers.
Sam is 6 years old from Corner Brook, and here is his picture.
Aw, thank you very much, Sam, for sending that in.
Yeah, and if you want to be part of our Weather Whiz Kid Club, send your drawing, your photo, your address, your name, and how old you are to nlphotos@cbc.ca, and we will get you on.
All right, so what's coming down the pipes weather-wise?
Yeah, we're going to start talking about Saturday because we're already Thursday. I can't believe that. But it does look like we should start to see some clearing skies, which is certainly good news as far as the what we're seeing on the west coast and that snow squall setup. So through the morning on Saturday, we will start to see some cloud cover move in, and then in the evening hours, another system rolls in, and this one looks like we should see some more snow up through Labrador and along the west coast and south coast as well. That will skirt and head towards the Avalon. We could see a changeover to showers by the time Saturday or Sunday morning rolls around. That's because temperatures are going to be hovering around the 2 or 3 degree mark through the afternoon. So there's your temperatures, -3 for the Straits. Happy Valley Goose Bay should see plenty of sunshine, likely reaching a high near 1 degree, and then Lab City -1. But that potential for a few flurries. More sun and cloud for Nain in -7, and then Cartwright sitting around -3 as well. Otherwise, we're back into that southwesterly flow, onshore flow for the south coast, and Marystown looking at that potential for flurries and sitting around 3 degrees. Now, looking ahead as that system moves out Sunday morning, generally looking at the precipitation sticking around for most of the island. So we're looking at that potential for some accumulating snow along the northeast coast and the west coast yet again on Sunday. And then eventually that will move out of the way. Monday morning looks like clearing skies with some sunshine, maybe clipping the northeast coast again, depending on how far offshore that low moves. But otherwise, nothing but sun and cloud up through Labrador. The next system will move in Tuesday as far as cloud cover goes. And then towards the evening and overnight hours, eventually we'll start to see that system move in, and this one looks cold again. So we could see that potential for some snow. So here's a look at the forecast over the next 5 days. Winds will stay strong again tomorrow. Westerlies gusting upwards of about 80 kilometers per hour for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Dipping down though to -6 overnight, and then it looks like that potential for flurries right through Sunday, but temperatures are going to stay above 0. Into Monday, dropping, but windy conditions yet again, and Tuesday looks like sunshine and 2 degrees. Now for Central, temperature hovering around 0 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds, slight chance of a few flurries through the afternoon. 6 degrees by Sunday, and that's that change over to rain, and then breezy on Monday with sun and clouds, same through Tuesday, and then recovering slightly up, sitting around 6 degrees. Western Newfoundland looking at the potential for squalls again tomorrow. Flurries right through Sunday, -1 for Monday, and then 4 degrees on Tuesday with a return of that snow, but not until later on in the day. And then for eastern Labrador tomorrow, northwest winds 50, gusting 70 again along the coast. And then 1 degree on Saturday, flurries returning as we head into the beginning of next week. And then same thing for western Labrador. Those winds are going to stay relatively breezy tomorrow. Northwesterlies gusting about 50 kilometers per hour, snow late day. And then as we head towards Sunday, that sunshine peaks out, but again, going to stay breezy and -10. So let's look at your forecast. I'll have your weather photo when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, pop superstar Celine Dion will start her first North American tour in a decade in her home province. The singer will showcase her new moves in Quebec this September. She spoke with the CBC's Zuleika Nathu yesterday after announcing she's wrapping up her Las Vegas show.
I think it's time for a change. Time to hit the road. What's left to say? This person working anymore.
It's a big chapter. Maybe some people thought that, okay, she's gonna be 51. Maybe she'll take a break, you know? Maybe it's about time. I'm gonna explode. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm part of my team. I'm part of my life. I found passion. People are sending me amazing songs. I'm freaking out about my album. I think it's going to be the best tour, the courage word for me, it's exactly the way I feel. For 3 years, it's been tough to talk to the children, raise the children, loss of my husband, am I gonna sing again? And at the same time, it's like, I feel like I'm in charge of my life. So the only thing I can do is to be the best of myself. I don't need to be in competition. I never did, I never will. I cannot be the best of everybody, but I can be the best of me. And you know what? Because I don't need to prove anything, things started to get better. I'm enjoying my life so much. I'm 51 years old, and I'm like at the best of my day.
Here's your beautiful weather photo of the day. This photo was taken in the Big Land.
Gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. I love that sunset. I'll tell you where it was taken and who took this shot when we come back.
Well, they say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but there is free ice cream for high-achieving students in Corner Brook. It's a simple and sweet offer. Bring in a high-scoring test or assignment and receive a large ice cream cone. Michelle Payne owns Fox's General Store in the West Coast City, and she initially set a pretty high bar. If any student gets a 95 or better, all they have to do is bring in the exam or assignment, and she'll let you pick out your favorite ice cream cone free of charge. Now that can be pretty tough though, so when people pointed that out on social media, she lowered the bar. So now you just need to bring in 2 consecutive tests or assignments that show you did better on the second test. Then that qualifies for the freebie. Well, a Canadian pet owner and her border collie are in the final run to win a popular Facebook contest. Here's a look at how Ontario's Madison Phelan and her pet Rev amazed judges on the world's most amazing dog. And we don't have that for you right now, but we will have a lovely feature on that story tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. There we go.
Well, we do have a nice weather photo, though, that we can talk about.
Yes, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, a gorgeous shot there. I said it was in the Big Land.
Yep. Whereabouts?
It was taken in Reybold.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I love it when we get photos from those areas.
So do I.
Yeah.
Me
more of those
More
photos.
of those, yeah. Thank you so much to Leonard for sending us that lovely weather photo. If you have any that you'd like to share with us, we love to see them. Send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Yeah, well, that's it for us tonight. Anthony will be back in studio tomorrow night. Lots more to talk about, I'm sure, with the throne speech and the upcoming election and all of that fun stuff. So, yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.